Good evening, all. My name's Isaac, and today we'll be going through the exercises for the unit testing chapter for the LC101 Java track. Um, I just posted the actual walkthrough of the chapter, so if you haven't seen that, definitely take a peek at that before you start working on this. We only have 3 sections, so this should honestly be a relatively short video, but are some things to cover here, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. So we're still working in our cartest.java class, as stated here. And we're going to add 3 test methods. The test gas tank after driving, which is our third to do. Gas tank level is accurate after driving within tank range. So we have to do our test. We have to use the car method drive. And within a value of 50 miles passed in a drive, we expect test car to have a gas tank level of 9. So what we have to do is first annotate our class with the at test, and then do our public void test gas tank after driving. Oh, that's thriving. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do test underscore car dot drive. We're going to pass in 50. One thing to remember, our test car was already established in our before class up here, so we don't have to worry about initializing it. We're just calling it down here. And now we need to assert equals, and actually I should not have done that, so let's undo that. And let's make sure that we verify we have the double argument. Okay, so with a value of 50 miles passed in the drive, we expect the test car to have a gas tank level of 9. Remember, the syntax for assert equals is expected, actual, and with doubles, we actually have to have our delta, which is our, I guess, acceptable variance line. So we'll do 9, comma, test car dot get gas tank level, and our variance is 0.001. As we stated previously, that's a fairly low variance, but that's because we don't really want a lot of it, and we just need this when we're doing doubles. So we're going to go ahead and run this. And pass with no issues. So one thing to look at is let's look at the test car and what drive does. So we're going to go into our car.java. And here's the drive method. Looks like it creates a max distance variable that multiplies the miles per gallon by the gas tank level. The miles able to travel is calculated if the miles are greater than max distance miles. This is actually called a ternary. Hang on, Java ternary operator. And Geeks for Geeks, as usual, is the winning site. So yeah. So here's the syntax of a ternary operator, just in case it's confused you. The variable name, which is miles able to travel. The expression 1. So if miles distance is greater than max distance, if true, you're going to do expression 1, which is max distance. If false, you'll do expression 3, which is miles. And then the resultant value will be whatever evaluates from here. And we'll see some here. So basically, here's a broken down version of it. If expression 1, so if miles is greater than max distance, then the variable will be assigned expression 2, which is max distance. Else, the variable will be assigned expression 3, which is miles. So essentially, what miles able to travel is calculating is if the miles here are greater than the max distance, which was calculated up here, the miles per gallon times the tank level, then it will assign max distance. else it will assign just the miles that are available. Yeah. Okay. So ternary operator, nothing to be scared about. It's just an if-else statement essentially, just written a little differently than the syntax we're used to. Let's continue. So let's see. I've really got to turn these out. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's continue. So once it does that, it generates another variable, gallons used, which is miles able to travel up here, divided by this dot miles per gallon. Then it updates the gas tank to subtract the gallons used, and it adds the miles traveled to the odometer. So when we see here, we see that we had 50 miles traveled. We expected 9, and then we just get the gas tank level, which makes sense since we started with 10 gallons in the gas tank, and we drove 50 miles, so that's 1 gallon. We expected to have 9 left, which is what we had left, and this is true. No problem there. Now 6.3.2, I find hilarious. We have test gas tank after exceeding tank range, and we have to add a test for our fourth to do. Gas tank level is accurate after attempting to drive past the tank range. We're on our own for this one. We'll need to simulate the car traveling further than its gas tank level allows. And we're just going to annotate with our at test. We're going to do public void, and we do test gas tank after exceeding tank range. Okay, so we've got the basic skeleton here. Now this is where it's very important that you actually pay attention to the code that you're testing, and ideally you would be doing test-driven development, which means that you would write these tests before you write out your code. But this is one of those unique circumstances, which I happen to find myself a lot in. So let's go ahead and check on our code to see what we have. All we know is that we need to simulate the car traveling further than its gas tank level allows. In the car, we have gas tank, we have make, model, gas tank size. Here we're just defaulting that the gas tank level is full, and then we have our miles per gallon. So let's go ahead and just get into it. So we're going to do our test car dot drive, which we already know goes whatever double we pass in here. And we're just going to do, we're actually going to get a little different with it. So we're going to do test car dot drive, and we're trying to exceed the tank range, right? So what I'd like to do here is instead of, we could theoretically pass, like we have a gas tank size of 10 and we go 50 miles per gallon, 10 times 50 is 500. So we could theoretically do 501 miles or 520 miles and get to where we need, but that's not dynamic. And I really don't like hard coding things, but it is what it is. So let's do this. Let's do test car dot get gas tank size times test car dot get miles per gallon plus 1. So when we actually run this, it'll multiply the tank size times the miles per gallon, 10 times 50, and it'll add 1 to it, which is us attempting to drive past the tank range. So now we need to assert equals, and we're doing doubles because all of this is in doubles, that the test car dot get gas tank level is 0. So we have expected, actually, no, we should probably flip those. So if we try to drive past our gas tank, we expect our gas tank would be empty, right? So expected would be 0, actual would be the get gas tank level, and we're going to do a variance level of 0.001. Okay, let's try playing this and see if that works. Yeah, so ran without any issue. Now, if we had done, actually, if we left off the +1, I think that would still work, but it's kind of dicey because we're driving right at the corner, so the +1 just helps add to it. I hope this makes sense. Essentially, we're saying, hey, we need to make sure that we expect zero gallons left in our gas tank, and we did assert the equals, so 0 does equal 0. We had no issue there. And our last one is honestly kind of given to us, so we're just going to go through it ourselves. So the test for our last to do is a little different. We're going to perform an action on our car object, and we're expecting the object to throw an error. In this case, we're going to attempt to add gas to our car that exceeds the gas tank size. So first, we'll add some text to our add test annotation telling JUnit to expect an exception. Ugh, talk about a mouthful. So we'll do at test, and we're going to do expected equals illegal. Oh, I have two equals. That's why. Illegal argument exception dot class. And here we're going to do public void test gas overfill exception. Okay, and now let's just take this piece of code here, copy it, and paste. Okay, so yeah, let's just check here in codejava.net. So let's see, there are different ways to assert exceptions by throwing the code. We have assert throws, which is a method that asserts a piece of code throws an exception, which we're not using. We're using illegal argument. Assert equals. We have test exception, expected exception. What is this one? This one is illegal argument exception, which is what we're actually using. So in JUnit 3, or more exactly, in many versions of JUnit, you can always use Java's try-catch structure to test an exception. Here we're doing try this, catch illegal argument exception XE. Just a couple of pieces to keep in mind. So there are different arguments you can pass here in expected. So let's do at test expected JUnit 4. Okay. And let's see. That's JUnit 5, JUnit 4. Here we go. So when using JUnit 4, we can simply use the expected attribute to declare that we expect an exception to be thrown anywhere in the annotated test method. We have null pointer exceptions. Man, is there really not any documentation where I can just get a quick peek at this? Let's check. Let's see. JUnit 4 expected exception. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is junit.org, so public class accepted exception. The exceptions message contains, so you can use expect message string if it contains specific text. The exceptions message complies with a ham crest matcher. The exceptions cause complies with a ham crest matcher. and the exception itself complies with a Hamcrest matcher. So we do have some pieces of Hamcrest here. As we can see, we have the core here. We just haven't really messed with it. We have assumption violated exceptions, indicating that a test provides no useful information. See assume. You have to call methods before you set expectations. Assertion errors, indicating that a test is failing. Missing exceptions. Missing exceptions are reported with an error message like expected test to throw instance of foo. You can configure a different message by report missing exception with message string. And there's a lot of different methods. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to reach out or take a crack at reading the documentation. The documentation is your one source of truth for the correct version that you're using, and it shouldn't lead you astray. Just don't be afraid to read it. It looks a little intimidating, but once you start reading through it, you realize that it's not that hard. So we'll go ahead and go back to our assignment. I've lost the assignment. I have lost the assignment. Oh no. Eh. Oh, I lost the assignment. Okay. Oh, okay. Stand by while we hold for some technical difficulties. Java 6. There we go. Okay, perfect. So we are back. Okay, perfect. So we've already got our expected equals illegal argument exception dot class, and we have our basic structure here. This lets JUnit know that this test should pass an illegal argument exception. Now we have to update the car class to include an add gas method. So we're actually going to go into car, and we're just going to do public void add gas double gas, which will do this dot set gas tank level gas plus this dot get gas tank level. And this is not anything fancy. This is just saying, hey, whatever you pass in double as gas, we're just going to tack that onto the existing gas tank level by this dot set gas tank level. And this just adds gas plus whatever the current gas tank level is. Okay. So we're going to switch back over to our car test, and we're going to implement the new add gas method and a fail scenario. So we're going to do test car dot add gas, and we're going to pass 5 gallons, and we're going to do fail. Shouldn't get here or can't have more gas than the size of the tank. And one thing to note here is, well, why is adding 5 gallons to the car automatically putting it above the max? If we read our code and we read our comments, we'll see that, hey, gas tank level defaults to a full tank. So here when we add 5, we're adding 5 to an already full tank. And when we initialize test car, the gas tank was size was 10, but this piece right here that automatically assigns the gas tank level still goes through. So just a key piece to keep in mind. Now we're going to run the test and it'll fail. And the output is an unexpected exception. This test was expecting an illegal argument exception, but got an assertion error exception. So let's try running it and see what happens. So yeah, we got unaccepted exception. So this caused the test to fail. Further down in the output, we can see that our fail statement printed out the statement about not being able to add more gas than is possible. So it did. Shouldn't get here. GAR cannot have more gas in the tank than the size of the tank. So now we need to refactor car to throw an exception when too much gas is added to the tank. Find the set gas tank level and modify it. So let's go to car, our class. And where is set gas tank size level? Okay. Set gas tank level here. Public void set gas tank level. Okay, now we're gonna mess around with this a little. Public void set gas tank level, double gas tank level. Now, going to actually just comment that out, and we're going to do, and now we're just going to do an if statement. So if the gas tank level is greater than this dot gas tank size. So if we try to add, if the gas tank level is higher than the gas tank size, throw new illegal argument exception cannot exceed the designated tank size. Please consult owner manual. Yeah, I modified the error a bit, so sue me. Creative differences, you know. So now that we've gotten that done, we're just going to do so this is only going to happen if the gas tank level exceeds it. We can do an else, but it's kind of implied, so we'll just do this dot gas tanks level, not size, equals gas tank level. Okay, so now we should, if we try running our car test Java, it should pass. And it did. So now let's go ahead and run everything to make sure that our tests run correctly and nothing broke anything else. So yep, 5 of 5 tests passed. And let's see, should be fine. Feels like I'm missing something here for some reason. I mean, all we really did here was just change the error that it was throwing, which was an assertion error, to throw a new illegal error. So here we're just making sure that if that does happen, we throw this illegal error here, which it's expecting over here anyway, an illegal argument error. And then on failure, it's pushing this. So it's pushing the shouldn't get here or car cannot have more gas in tank than the size of the tank. Other than that, that's it. Honestly, these exercises were kind of given to us, so nothing too difficult here. But it is good for you to start seeing how tests work, how to set up your data using before, and just how sometimes you need to go back and refactor your code to make it more readable to fit your test, or just because something went wonky. Other than that, I mean, that's all I have. Great job if you've been keeping up. Awesome stuff. And I think we can call it. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to comment here, contact me via Discord, Slack, or, just shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to review this with you, and I will see you at the next one. Stay safe. Have a good night.